Got a hankerin for Little Caesars but bored of eating the same old pizzas? Don't fret. These upgrades will turn your next takeout into a slice of heaven. Here's a useful rule of thumb for the kitchen. The more cheese you use, the tastier a dish becomes. And there's no rule either that says you have to settle for the cheese that Little Caesars puts on your pizza. So, if you're a fromage connoisseur who loves cheese more than anything, you might want to exercise your freedom to fine-tune your pizza by piling on more of the shredded stuff.
I can ignore the cheese!
Yeah,
I'm sorry, I can't do it!
And no cheese brings a basic pizza closer to the heart of Italy than a mix of mozzarella and parmesan. Fresh mozzarella may come as standard with your order, but adding even more wouldn't be a mistake if you're looking for bigger flavor. Not only does it up the cheese factor exponentially, but it may also refresh a pizza that's been sitting in the shop, in the car, or on the counter before making its way to the dinner table. And springing for fresh parmesan rather than the shakeable green Kraft stuff will make a clear difference in quality too. Simply add your desired quantities of each cheese to your pizza and apply extra heat in a 250-degree oven for a few minutes to make it melt. Little Caesars probably isn't the first place that springs to mind if you're thinking about a more elegant pizza creation. This means you'll have to take matters into your own hands if you want something a little more upmarket. Luckily, easy-to-reach options such as artichoke hearts and spinach add an exquisite stroke to an ordinary pizza. All you need is a few store-bought items and an extra minute or two before serving. It shouldn't be too pricey either. In some places, for example, you'll find a can of artichoke hearts for less than $3. Fresh spinach is best for the purpose of pizza primping, but you can go with canned or frozen if you prefer a more kitchen-handy version of this sturdy green. Create an even distribution of both elements over your chosen pizza. If your finished creation still needs a little more oomph, try a light drizzle of olive oil to make things glossier, or a few spoonfuls of garlic for a powerful punch that'll meld perfectly with the other ingredients. A pizza can never be too Italian, especially one from a chain named for one of the world's best-known Roman emperors.
Et tu, Brute!
Choosing the toppings that'll take your Little Caesars selection into more Mediterranean territory is as easy as grabbing a few sun-dried tomatoes and green olives. You probably won't have sun-dried tomatoes just sitting around the house with your usual grocery fare, so you might want to pick up a pack for the occasion. With a bit of luck, you'll find a can at Walmart for around the $5 mark, while green olives tend to go for a little less. And of course, if you do have these ingredients in your kitchen, you're already ahead of the game. Once you've got your pizza, put as much or as little of each as you like. You'll be doing its heritage proud. Few ingredients provide as bright a blast of flavor, quite like roasted red peppers and pesto. The exciting dance between smoky sweet and zesty zing is a party for pizza lovers who need a slice with a little something extra. You can find jarred red peppers in chain stores or specialty shops, though they may exceed your pizza build-out budget. Instead, you'd probably be better off picking up a few whole red peppers, slicing them up and laying them on a baking sheet brushed with oil. After that, stick them in a 350-degree oven for 10 to 15 minutes until they soften and the skin starts to char. Take them out, let them cool a bit, and pop them on your pizza. Pesto is easy to rustle up at home too. All you need is a green base such as cilantro or basil, a bit of olive oil, garlic, and pine nuts, plus some parmesan and salt. Blitz everything in the blender until it turns into a paste. Then spoon it over your pizza so that every slice gets a generous portion. Hey pesto, a pizza that tastes as fresh as it is delicious. Veggie pizza is usually made by slicing up fresh vegetables and throwing them on as toppings to cook in the oven. Sadly, this isn't an ideal method of preparation, as it often results in soggy bits that don't have as much flavor as they should. If your Little Caesars order needs a big step up in the taste department, sizzling up some sautéed mushrooms and caramelized onions will best the usual veggie selections by a country mile. Even better, this topping trick fills your house with the fragrance of a luxury pizzeria, which may just fool your family into thinking you've become a gourmet chef in your free time. A carton of fresh mushrooms will run you between $3 and $5 at many major stores, though it's likely you already have some on hand. Meanwhile, you'll want to use a large yellow onion to get the flavor just right for your pizza. Drizzle a bit of oil in a frying pan and add the onions, heating them on medium until they turn translucent. Then, toss in your sliced mushrooms and continue cooking until they soften while the onions become fully caramelized. A sprinkle of salt or garlic powder will help here too. Spread the finished blend over your pizza as desired, and enjoy. Sometimes you only need a little more of the flavors that are already present in a Little Caesars value pizza. Fire-roasted tomatoes and basil are sure to turn a bland bit of pizza into a festival of flavor. You'll find cans of fire-roasted tomatoes at most major grocery chains for as low as $1 a pop. which should provide you with enough to top a few pizzas. If you're feeling ambitious, you can roast fresh tomatoes by brushing the tops with a little olive oil, giving them a sprinkle of salt and sliding them onto the grill or into a 450-degree oven for 30 to 40 minutes, or until you see the skins have browned to your liking. If you've got a basil plant at home, you should be able to take off a handful of leaves for use here. If not, you'll find packets of basil in the produce section, which should have enough to bring a flavor boost to your Little Caesars starter pizza. Lay them on whole or snip them into ribbons to make them go even further, then dig in. Turning a cut-rate cheese pizza into a genuinely hearty dish can be as simple as recreating a pizzeria-style barbecue chicken pizza with your own home-based components. If you have a bottle of your preferred barbecue sauce in the fridge, give your Little Caesars a swipe of it right over the cheese, as it'll complement both the tomato sauce and cheese with no effort at all. And the chicken won't hurt either. You already know you can find rotisserie chickens waiting to fly the coop at Costco, Walmart, and grocery stores in your area for just a few dollars. Grab one of those on your way home from Little Caesars and shred it into bite-sized pieces to distribute over your pizza. Make sure each bite has enough of each additional topping before reheating the pizza in a 250-degree oven for a few minutes to freshen it up. Then, dig into a slice and watch the sparks fly. Maybe you have some Little Caesars left over from the night before that, by morning, is calling your name once more. Turning your leftovers into a breakfast pizza will give you the chance to finish it off before it sits too long in the fridge, and allows you to reinvent a supper standard as a morning morsel with just a little extra fuss in the kitchen. You're likely to have eggs in your fridge door already, but swing by the store if you need to stock up. They're not exactly hard to find. A bag of frozen shredded hash browns, meanwhile, can be found for as little as $3 at some stores. And it'll last you through your next few breakfasts, too. Fry up the hash browns per the package instructions first. Then use the same pan to sizzle up some scrambled eggs. Don't forget to sprinkle on a bit of salt and pepper, too. Once they're ready, scatter the hash and eggs over your pizza as you see fit, and take a slice or two for the ride to work. Best of all, this works as a breakfast for supper situation if you'd rather flip your day on its head. Let's be real, not everyone wants to spend extra to get their pizza up to speed. You're already eating cheap and easy with a pizza from a discount chain as it is, and any extra cash doled out to dress it up could end up netting you in the negative. But you may have a few possibilities in your fridge and freezer already, staple items that'll afford you an opportunity to bring your pizza up a notch or two. And since ranch dressing is a kitchen staple and bacon may be a part of your regular diet, you're likely to have a dynamic duo that's ready to go at a moment's notice, without having to spend another cent. You probably already know how delicious ranch dressing can be on a pizza, no matter which chain you grab it from. So jazzing up Little Caesars with a blast of buttermilk-based bliss is a no-brainer. You can also fry a little bacon in a pan, or zap it in the microwave and break it into whatever size pieces you like best. If you're a real fan of ranch, feel free to drop a little dressing in a dish for dipping. The sky's the limit, really.
Pizza? Now that's what I call a taco.
The flavors of the Southwest belong on a Little Caesars pizza just as much as any others. After all, a pizza's savory mix of cheese and tomato sauce is just the basics of taco culture laid out on a chewy crust instead of folded into a shell. All it takes to turn your pizza into a giant open-faced taco is a bit of kitchen time, a few extra ingredients, and a sense of curiosity. You can use leftover ground beef from a previous meal spiced up with a bit of cumin, onion, and garlic powders, as well as a little chili powder for an extra kick. If you're starting from scratch, brown a package of ground beef or beef substitute and flavor it with the same seasonings. Spread the beef crumbles over your pizza, then apply the usual taco fixings: grated cheddar cheese, fresh tomatoes, shredded lettuce, and a few dollops of sour cream. Crumble a handful of tortilla chips to give the dish some welcome crunch. And voila, the ultimate combination of Italian and Mexican flavors. Few kitchen gadgets are more useful than the crock pot, as slow cooking a hearty meal can often be a one-way ticket to gastronomic bliss. And the best part? You can use these nifty devices to spruce up your next pizza too. It might sound crazy, but next time you know you're going to be stopping by Little Caesars, you could take the time to slow cook a pork roast beforehand. Add some green chilies to the pot to flavor the whole recipe, or offer them afterwards to give you better control of the combo. Then, make sure the two elements are shredded and cut into bite-sized morsels to make for easy assembly and clean consumption. After that, simply add them to your pizza for a truly unique takeout upgrade. You might also want to provide a dish of Monterey Jack nearby to offer the option of a final cheese topper that matches the mode of the pork and chilies.